I'm gonna ramble a little bit because that's who I am. Is it recording?
Yep.
When we're born into this world, we don't really get a say. Little boys and little
Alright, so Haley and I met on May 9th. It was an FHE actually, and I remember just a couple weeks before that, me and my roommates had decided that we were going to go to every single FHE that our ward had in that semester because we did terrible the previous semester. And I remember walking in there and being like, okay, I'm not really here to like pick up on any chicks or like do anything like that. Like that was never my intentions at first of like trying to meet anyone. I was just there to hang out with my buddies, and it was a pool party and we were just gonna kind of chill a little bit. And I remember sitting there at the bishop's house, not the bishop, but brother and sister bishop, and sitting there and looking at one of my buddies, Tyler, and I was like, dude, are you gonna go talk to some girls, or are you gonna go ask someone out or anything like that? And when I did that, he immediately turns to me and goes, I don't see you doing anything, so why don't you go talk to some girls? And I was like, okay, like I guess you're kind of right. Like I haven't really been dating anyone too much lately, like. And I remember looking up and seeing this beautiful blonde standing there talking to our bishop at the time. And I was like, okay, she's the one that I want to go talk to.
And my girlfriend, who was kind of my sidekick for the night, left my side, and it gave David an opportunity to come up to me. And he challenged me to a game of ping pong. And my first words were, I suck at ping pong. And any of my brothers know that I'm terrible at ping pong. And so as he did this, he kept challenging me. He's like, no, it's fine, I suck too. And we went over, and of course, he crushed me. And he kept trying to be like, it's okay, you're doing a great job. And I was like, you're full of crap, because I really do suck. And so we played the ping pong, and then we went over to her horseshoes, and I thought I would have better luck there. And of course I didn't, but we just laughed the entire time. And then we cleaned up, and we walked out, and David had asked for my number. And that was where things started going.
So, excuse me. On our first date, I remember sitting there and like thinking about what I wanted to do, and I was like trying to plan it out the whole week, and I was like, crap, I really like, this girl's really cool. She seemed really cool from FHE. Like I really want to have a good time with her. Like what can I do? And I remember just like sitting there and thinking about all these date ideas and different things that I have done in the past, and like just how they weren't necessarily that much fun. And I was like, I want to do something like different. Like I was and I remember calling up my sister Samantha actually and like double checking on the date plans, and I was like, do you think this would be a good idea? Do you think this would be fun? Like if a guy asked you out, would this be something that you would like enjoy going to? And so she's like, yeah, that would be excellent. Like that's a really good idea. And so show up to Haley's apartment on that Friday immediately after that Monday that we met, and pick her up, and she's like, so what are we doing? And this whole time that we've been communicating, I've been telling her that it was going to be a surprise. And I was a little bit nervous about it because I don't know, it's kind of a slower thing to go to and different things like that. And so we got to the car. I told her I wasn't going to tell her until we got to the car, and I was like, okay, so we're going to go to a Bees game. It's a baseball game up in Salt Lake. It's just a minor league. It's nothing great, like nothing crazy. We're going to go to the Bees game and see where it kind of goes from there. Didn't necessarily say that, but that's what I was thinking at the time.
So our first date was a couple days after we had met. We'd been talking before, and he had asked me out on a date. And he told me it was going to be a surprise, and so I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know what kind of guy he was, and so we decided that he was going to surprise me. And so we knocked on my door, and he just had a really big smile on his face, and he's like, you ready to go? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, what are we doing? He's like, I'll tell you once we get down into the car. And so we got down to the car, and he was like, we're going to a Bees game. And little do you know that I like love baseball so much, and I was so excited. And I remember we went to the baseball game, and we actually sat next to some very interesting people, and we could not stop laughing. Like we could not stop laughing the entire night. And these are just very entertaining, a little interesting, a little weird kind of people. And I remember just thinking like I could just laugh with him all night.
I was like,
and
I don't know, I learned this little trick of the trade from my brother Derek, where to kind of gauge where people are at, especially girls when you're on a date with them, is like do a dinner and activity, and like that's exactly what we did. And then after that, kind of present them with another option of like, we can either go and get ice cream and continue to talk, or I can just take you home and we can kind of call it a night. I mean, I've had a great night so far, it's really up to you. And it kind of gives them like the ability to gauge where we're at on the date and everything. And I just remember her saying anything but option one, and option one was going home. So Haley and I had been talking marriage for probably about a month and a half or so at this point. We were really progressing to where we were really for sure that we wanted to get married. And so obviously the proposal had to come in order and different things like that. And we talked to our parents about it and different things. And you know, there was definitely some things that that Haley really wanted in regards to the proposal. And you know, I definitely felt like those were definitely important things as well. I felt like she wanted to be kind of prepped and ready, you know, have her nails done, different things, and also obviously the major importance of getting her father's permission and speaking with him, and also being able to have it documented and have those memories. And so
our proposal story, David had planned a few different things, and I was just trying to be ignorant of it. I thought he was going to propose like a month, like I thought he was going to propose in the end of September, which is kind of what he kind of hinted at. And it was the first month, and I didn't think he had the ring. And so I was just making plans. It was Labor Day weekend, and I had made the plan that we were gonna go see his sister and brother-in-law and their sweet kids down in St. George. And so I just had no idea that he would ever do that. And I remember we went to Texas Roadhouse before, and I had jewelry that I had left at the table, and everyone was in a rush. Like, we got our meals, and everyone was like, we gotta be there for sunset, we gotta be there for sunset. And I'm just like, guys, I went to Dixie State. Like, I've seen the sunset 100 times. I don't need to see it again. Like, we'll see it tomorrow. And they're like, no, we need to see it. And as soon as everyone got their steak, it was like boxed up, and we were like out the door. And we're driving to Dixie Rock, and I realized I don't have any of my jewelry that I left on the table. And I was like, guys, let's go back. And none of them were like, yeah, let's go back. They were all like, no, we need to get into Dixie Rock. And I was just like, okay guys, well, cool, glad that we all could be a little considerate. But little did I know that David would pop the question on top of Dixie Rock, and I was so surprised. I didn't even expect it. And I didn't even know he had the ring. Like, I thought he was kidding. Like, as he got down, I thought he was joking. Like, he was just trying to, like, what's the word? He was just trying to psych me out. And so then he saw the ring, and I was like, shut up. And then we got
Haley
engaged.
is someone who is a straight shooter. She will never tell you something that you would want to hear necessarily, but it would be what you need to hear. She's never like gonna be that fake friend who will just be like, oh yeah, you're totally fine, like go ahead and go do that, or that's not wrong of you to do, or whatever it might be. She's always honest and open, and it doesn't matter who it's for or who it's with. She has a strong relationship with them and is able to just be straightforward and tell them exactly like what she thinks in a situation, and they listen, and they actually do take that advice. And I truly believe it's because she's an extremely loyal person and extremely trustworthy, and she's the most loyal and trustworthy person that I know, and I know that I can always count on her. She's dependable and reliable, and someone that I really cherish.
Just like the first one to start picking up chairs and to start putting them away, and he was just so service oriented, and he just wanted to be the best person he could, and he has upheld that throughout our entire relationship of just always being the first one to serve. And I love that attribute that he has, and that Christ-like, that light of Christ that he has. He will always open my door, and he will always try to serve me the best he can. And I know that it's not that he wants me to take advantage of him, but it's that he understands who he is and his like call as a son of God, and I love that about him.